I called you, Steve, for help because I watch your show all the time.
I look up to you so much.
I'm trying to find a way to clear my name, and she was like, well, just email Steve Wilkos.
I reached out to this man because I trust and believe what he may be able to do for us will be effective.
I couldn't do this without you. I couldn't do this without you, Steve.
I hope it works out for
so
you.
much.
How are you?
I'm great.
What a pleasure to be doing this interview right now.
Oh, thank you.
My name is Tishelle. I'm with Urban Bridges. First and foremost, we want to thank you very much for taking your time to speak with us. Let's jump right into it. Congratulations on your 16th season. Such an accomplishment. Did you ever think starting season 1 that you would have made it this far?
Not 16 seasons. I remember sitting in my backyard after season 1. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I had bought a lake house up in Wisconsin, and it was right after season 1. And I remember saying, man, if I could get 4 or 5 years out of this show, I could then maybe hold on to the lake house. I wouldn't have to sell it. And so that's what I was really hoping for, 4 or 5 years. So 16 is, it's pretty nice.
All right, now you help bring a lot of justice to families in search of truth. What brings you the greatest joy behind doing that?
Well, it's the aftermath when we get people answers. People that have appeared on our show have admitted to crimes or failed lie detector tests that kind of help the victims in court. And to receive letters from them saying, wow, you really helped my life out. And, without you, I had no place to turn. And that's a nice thing, because a lot of times people do feel like we're the last resort, our show. So when we can make an impact on people's life, it is gratifying. And it's the same feeling I had when I was a policeman. When you get somebody's stolen car back or find their missing child or things like that, people really appreciate the effort that you put into your job.
All right, speaking of being a former policeman, do you feel like patrolling in Chicago prepared you at all for your career now?
Oh yeah, because when you're a police officer, you spend a lot of time interviewing people, getting information. When you make arrests, you're interrogating people. So it certainly gave me a skill of extracting information out of people.
All right. Will you be introducing anything new this season that we have never seen before?
Well, not that you've never seen before, but for the past couple seasons, because of COVID, we didn't have an audience. And, that was really hard to do a show without an audience, to get no instant feedback when you're doing something in studio. So even most of the time we're a very serious show, but sometimes I'm lighthearted and I'll make a joke. And when there's 3 cameramen snickering and not an audience, it's really hard to do a show in a vacuum. That, and we have a new studio, which gives the show a new, fresh look. So it is seeming like, we're getting this new start, even though we've been on the air for 16 years. Everything feels fresh and new again, with the new studio, with the audience again. As far as what content we put on the show, it's always been the people at home that decide what we're going to do. People come with us with stories, but we're not going to reinvent the wheel. Like when you find something that works on, to your audience and it rates, you're going to stick with that. Jerry Springer had the love triangles for years and years and years. Maury had the DNA, who's your daddy? And those, Jerry was on for 27 years. I mean, Maury, I know, was on for, almost 30 or the same amount of time. So when you find your niche, you kind of got to stay true to it.
All right, now throwing the chair has been a staple in the show since the start. Remind us where that came from.
You know, it had to be in season 1, I'm sure. You know, but to be honest, I can't tell you the last time I threw a chair. I think I'm getting too old, and we have new chairs that are very heavy. But the first time I did it, you know, people say, you know, when I yell, "Get off your stage," like when those things I did in the beginning, I wasn't even thinking about it. Or when I threw the chair, I just was so mad, and I guess I was so. Maybe I was emotionally unstable when I did the show the first couple of years because I got so into it and I was getting crazy and I was, you know, like getting the show off the ground. You know, not only are you working the show, but you're going across the country promoting your show. You're going to all the markets. So it was tough. And I think I was losing my mind a little bit and I would get so mad at the guests I threw the chair. But I think I'm a little more in control of my emotions. And like I said, I'm getting a little older, a little mellower. So chair throwing thing, it might be a thing of the past.
All right, what has been the ghetto-est moment you've had on your show?
Oh my God. You know, that, you know, see, it's so crazy because my TV life is 2 lives, right? One on Springer and one on my show. So to me, the ghetto moment wasn't so much on my show. It would be on the Springer show when, you know, you would just get all the weave ripping out, right? Like, and so here's the story. So this is how different my show is. I mean, we're usually doing very serious topics. Well, when I was on the Springer show, we start having, you know, the fights. Well, women would start pulling each other's hair out, right? Well, one time, this one girl really pulled a lot of hair out of this other girl's head. And I said, oh my God, that's a lot of hair ripped out. So I picked up the clog of hair or clump of hair. And then every fight we had with the hair pulling, I started adding onto this little ball of hair. And I kept wrapping it up. And I kept it in the little corner backstage. And after about 10 years, I had a bowling ball size of women's hair. Just packed like that. And, you know, I forgot about it because then, you know, I went on to my own show and then we moved from Chicago to Stamford, Connecticut. And I always think, like, what happened to that ball of hair? That was such a big piece of TV history, and now it's lost forever.
So we got to find that ball of hair somewhere.
I'm sure somebody just tossed it out. So what gross pig held on to this?
What has been the biggest compliment for you during your series for the past 16 years?
Well, and here's again, I have to go to it. When I was on the Springer show, when I was out in public, people come up to me and say, where do you find, what trailer park do you find that trash in, right? Which I always hated because you should feel fortunate enough that, one, maybe you're not living in a trailer park or you've had a better education and your life is better. These are people that are just not as fortunate. Are they as educated or well-mannered or sophisticated that other people, you know, don't have? So that I would get that a lot. And I'd always laugh it off because, you know, you don't want to offend fans, but, you know, I wanted to say, hey, man, those are people too. Now, when I do my show, it's a great feeling when you're, you know, I'm in an airport. People are like, hey, Steve, you know, we really love what you're doing. We really love that you help people. Women have come up to me and said, hey, man, I was in a domestic, you know, situation where my spouse or boyfriend was being violent, and you gave me the courage to get out of that. That's the greatest compliment I've ever been paid.
Awesome. Now, they already know, but tell our audience why they need to be tuning in to season 16 of the Steve Wilkos Show.
Well, the big reason is I have kids in college and I need the paycheck, so I want to stay on there. So that's the number one reason. But, you know, the reason to watch the show is when you turn on daytime TV, there's a million shows with a million people promoting celebrities, right? The celebrities, you know, oh, let's talk about this movie or singer and this song and whatever. Well, you know, we do a show that nobody else is doing. We're doing a show where we're getting, you know, everyday people that are looking for answers. And, you know, we do lie detector tests, we do DNA tests. So we're off on our own little island doing a show that we don't have to compete against anybody else. So we're doing a show that's completely different. So if you want to, you know, hear about Brad Pitt, you know, what movie's coming out, or some singer, you know, on Jennifer Hudson or Kelly Clarkson, you know, tune into those shows. But those are a lot of those shows. There's only one show that's doing what we're doing. So we're quite happy that nobody's coming after us.
Okay. So as a former police officer, there's been a lot of negativity perpetuated behind the profession within recent years. What do you think it will take to develop a better relationship with officers? And do you think it's necessary for us to do that?
That's a difficult question because I started my police career 32 years ago, and people didn't like the police back then. My father was a police officer starting in 1963 or something, and they didn't like my dad either. So, you know, most people's interaction with the police is a negative experience, okay? You're either getting a traffic ticket, you're being arrested, you've just been a victim of a crime. So when you think of the police, it's usually an experience with a negative connotation. Is there work on both ends of society? Is there work on the policeman aspect of it, their behavior? Yes. You can't act like you can go out and your word is God and whatever you say, people should just listen to you. You have to treat people with respect. You have to explain the situation. And on the other hand, I just got turned on to TikTok, right? My wife would send me these TikToks and I finally downloaded the app. And I'm looking at all these videos and it's all these people just video recording police officers antagonizing them, right? Oh, I know, you know, you can't tell me this because that's my right. You know, I don't understand that. Like, wouldn't you have better time to do with your time than antagonize the police? And you know, police are making arrest and they're videotaping, you know, everybody's got police brutality. And this is before cell phones. When I was a police officer, there was a guy, you know, he was in his 20s. He robbed an old lady. We're driving down the street and we see this guy knock the old lady, grab her purse, and he's running down the street. I jump out of the car, and this was in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. So I grab the guy, and he's a big guy, and he swings at me, and I'm punching him. My partner comes up, and we're both punching the guy to subduing him. And, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Average Joe Citizen comes out, and they're like, "Oh, you officers, why are you beating that man? You know, stop." And I'm like, you don't know what the hell's going on. Get the hell out of here. Like, they're thinking that we're like just beating up some poor sap on the street. No, this guy just robbed an old lady and he's fighting with us. So we have to use force. So that's the tricky part. Like, you see the police and they might be using force, but there might be a really good reason for it. But like I said, I think in the old days, even, you know, my dad was a policeman. So if the police stopped me, I was like, yes sir, no sir. Not everybody's going to be like that. Police, they have to realize, you know, we work for the public. You can't just think, okay, I'm above you. No, you got to explain to the citizens. You got to be respectful of everybody.
All right. Now, you just mentioned your wife introduced you to TikTok. You met your wife while you were working on Jerry Springer, which is an amazing love story. How does your wife make you a better person?
Oh my God. Listen, if it wasn't for my wife, you and me wouldn't be talking right now. I might not be above ground right now, okay? So when I met my wife, I used to be a really emotional, hot-headed guy. I could fly off the handle, you know, drop of a dime. and she's really calmed me down. She's opened my eyes to see things from more than one angle. You know, I used to drink too much. You know, she got me not to do that. I don't drink at all anymore, but you know, she's really made me a better person for sure. And she's given me such a great life to appreciate, to do the things that I need to do to take care of myself and be around a long time for my children. So yeah, like, and that's just my personal life. As far as my show, my wife ran the Springer Show and my show for years, both at the same time. And I tell people all the time, I got the greatest executive producer in the world. She had 2 shows, and the Springer Show was about to get canceled. It's like raising the Titanic. It's impossible. She turned the numbers around. She kept the show on the air for another 15 years. She took a nobody like me and made it into a show that made 16 years. So she's just a wonderful, fantastic executive producer.
Shout out to her. Okay, talk about the joys of your Harley-Davidson. We hear that's one of your favorite pastimes.
Yeah, you know, it's, how old are you?
I'm 34.
Okay, so you're young. So I'm 58, and you know, there's a time in my life when I came out of the Marines, I thought I was Superman, right? Nothing could hurt me, nothing could do anything to me. And now I'm becoming like this, almost like I developed like a little scaredy cat trait, right? Like I'm riding my Harley and like, I'm thinking, oh, is that car good? Oh, like, you know, and I'm like, oh, my bike's kind of heavy now. Like it's not as light as it was. And, you know, and I love riding a motorcycle, but like, I could see the end coming. Like there's going to be a time when I'm going to have to give that bad boy up, you know?
Not yet. You're still not yet. Hang in there.
Yeah, not yet. But you know how the older guys go to the trikes? They got the 3 wheels. That won't be me. But you know, I'm like, I get on my bike and I'm like, maybe a couple more years, you know. And the other thing is like, it's like October 10th. I put my bike in the garage last week for the winter because if it's not 75 degrees or warmer, I ain't riding. Like, I know these guys like they're riding in December, January. Nah, man, I gotta be nice and toasty.
As unpredictable as this journey has been for you, what's next for Steve Wilkos?
Oh God, you know, I always said that this is gonna be my last job, but you know, it seems like there's some opportunities coming down the road for me, maybe in sports. I'm actually having some meetings. I had some meetings last week about doing some appearances on shows, and I have a lot of time off, and I did express some interest with my agent that maybe I'm willing to do some things. But, you know, after this, like having your own show, there's, you know, it's kind of hard to think like, is there going to be something else? But, you know, when I say 58, I start feeling old. But then I see guys, you know, in their 70s and 80s even still working. I don't want to be that guy because like Maury worked till like he was 83, and I don't want to do that. But, you know, my father, he retired when he was like 56, I think. And he told me, he goes, it was too young and I made a big mistake. You got to be active. And the good thing is I am active. I golf every day. I have a social network of friends that we get together. We golf, we do things. You know, I like working out. I come home from golf. I'll, you know, hit my gym in my house. And, you know, I spend a lot of time with my kids. But even that's coming to an end because my daughter's in college in Boston and my son's going to be going to college. So I got to find things to do to keep me occupied, you know.
Okay, well, apparently we have to wrap up. I am so honored to have an opportunity to have spoken to you without being a guest on your show, and to be able to have dialogue with you.
That's the best way to do it.
Honestly, I mean, I grew up watching you, so it's an honor to be speaking with you, and whatever the heck you're gonna do from here, I'm sure we'll see your face. And I really appreciate your time and the conversation, and good luck, man.
Thank you. You too. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.